The Legend of Situ Bagendit. Once upon a time, in a beautiful, fertile village surrounded by green rice fields and tall mountains, there lived a rich woman named Nyai Bagendit. She owned the biggest, fanciest house in the whole village. The walls were made of precious stones. The gates stood tall and grand, and her yard was filled with decorative trees that only the rich could afford. But Nyai Bagendit wasn't known just for her wealth. She was also famous for being mean, greedy, and cruel. She was a widow. Her husband had died long ago, leaving behind a fortune. But instead of sharing her riches, Nyai Bagendit only cared about collecting more. She kept her gold, silver, jewels, and money in huge locked chests. Every single day, she would count her treasures and smile proudly. While she lived in luxury, the villagers struggled. The harvest often failed, prices went up, and many couldn't afford food. When they had no choice but to borrow money, they came to Nyai Bagendit. But she made them suffer. "If you borrow one kind from me," she once said to a caring mother, "you must really free or your house and your rice field will be mine." Not even the tears of a mother or the cries of a sick child could melt her heart. One day, under the hot sun, an old man walked slowly through the village. His back was bent, his clothes were worn out, and he leaned on a weather-reddened cane. Despite his tired steps, his face looked calm. He stopped and asked a farmer, "Excuse me, young man, can you show me the richest house in this village?" The farmer wiped his sweat and pointed to the grand house at the end of the road. "That's Nyai Bagendit's house," he said. "Ah, but if you were asking for 30, I wouldn't bother." The old man smiled. "Thank you, I'll try anyway." But when the farmer turned around, the old man was gone. At that moment, Nyai Bagendit was sitting in her yard, surrounded by glittering jewelry. She smiled as she counted her treasure. "Nothing is more precious than wealth," she whispered. Suddenly, the old man appeared. "Nyai," he said gently, "may I have some food? Just a piece of bread or a sip of water." Nyai Bagendit's eyes widened with anger. "Who are you? How dare you enter my home? Get out! You're ruining my afternoon. The old man didn't argue. He just smiled strangely. Then his voice grew deep and powerful. Very well, I will leave, but first look at his cane. He stabbed the cane into the ground. If you can pull this out, he said, I'll go and never return. Nyai Bagendit laughed. The old stick? I can pull it out with one hand. She tried. She pulled hard, but the cane didn't budge. She tried with both hands. She called her servants one by one. People tried, dozens of them, but no one could move it. Then the old man stepped forward. With one hand, he pulled the cane out. And from the hole, water started gushing out. Fast, faster than any spring the villagers had ever seen. It became a stream, then a river, then a flood. The water didn't stop. The villagers panicked. They tried to run. Houses were drowned. Fields disappeared under the rising water. People screamed for help. Nyai Bagendit shouted for her servants to save the treasure chest. But it was too late. The water rose and rose. Before the waves swallowed her house, the old man's voice echoed through the air. These are the tears of the people you hurt. Your treasure will be your grave. This is your punishment for your greed. Everything was gone. Nothing was left of the grand house or the gold. In its place, a large lake formed. The people named it Situ Bagendit, meaning Bagendit Lake. And to this day, they say, if you listen closely on certain nights, you can hear the cries of a woman from under the water. The cries of Nyai Bagendit.